Let's be honest. Trying to figure out your rights for taking time off work can be a real headache, right? The rules can seem so complicated, but they don't have to be. Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and give you a clear, simple guide to what you're legally entitled to when it comes to leave and absences. Okay, let's get right into it. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with the essential leave everyone gets, then we'll talk about time off for those big family moments. After that, we'll cover some other special cases. And we'll wrap up with the really crucial stuff, the rules and procedures you need to know to make sure you actually get the time you deserve. All right, first up, let's talk about the absolute fundamentals. These are the core benefits that are the foundation of your rights as an employee, no matter where you work or what you do. So the baseline for everybody is super simple and clear. You are entitled to 1 full month of annual leave. That's your time to rest, to recharge, to completely switch off, and it is a universal right for every single employee. Now here's a really interesting little detail. If you happen to work down in the southern provinces, you get an extra 20 days on top of that standard month. That is a huge extra benefit, so it's definitely something to be aware of if it applies to you. Okay, so beyond your annual vacation, there are other core types of leave. You're granted time off for the Hajj pilgrimage, but this is a once-in-a-career deal. And then there's sick leave. Whether you're out for a day or for a longer period, the most important thing to remember is you have to have a medical certificate to back it up. And then we have maternity leave. The law provides for 150 days. Yeah, that's a really substantial amount of time, and it's designed to give working mothers the support they need during such a critical period. Now, just to make sure there's no confusion, the law gives two really important clarifications here. First, a miscarriage that happens within the first 7 months of a pregnancy doesn't count as a birth for leave purposes. And second, if you have, say, twins or triplets, it's treated as a single birth event when it comes to this leave entitlement. All right, sticking with the family theme, let's move on to the other types of leave you can get for major life events. From the happy celebrations to the more difficult times. And this is a big one, a really positive recent change. Look at this. For a whole list of major family events, your own marriage, your kid's marriage, the birth of a child, your son's circumcision, or a death in the family, the entitlement has jumped from 3 days up to 5 days. That's a great update. The law is also pretty smart about this. It understands that your family doesn't always live right around the corner. So there's this really practical rule that lets you add up to 48 hours. That's 2 whole days to your family leave, specifically for travel. It just makes sense, right? Okay, so we've covered personal time and family time, but there are also special paid absences that are there to support your professional life, your personal growth, and even civic duties. And this covers a pretty wide range of stuff. If you're an athlete competing at a national or international level, you can get paid leave. A union rep doing official union work, you're covered. If you're a student, you get time off to sit for an exam. And for ongoing development, you can get 4 hours a week for approved training. Or if you're a researcher, time to attend big conferences. Okay, this last section is probably the most important. Knowing what you're entitled to is one thing, but knowing how to actually claim it is everything. So let's talk about the key terms and procedures you absolutely have to follow. So when you're dealing with bereavement leave, the law uses some very specific, kind of old-fashioned terms for family members. You'll see things like ascendants, descendants, and collaterals. So what on earth do those actually mean? Let's break it down. First up, ascendants. The easiest way to think about this is your family line going up. So that's your parents and your grandparents. Simple as that. Next, we have descendants. And if ascendants is the line going up, you can probably guess that descendants is the line going down. This covers your sons and daughters, and also your sons' children, so your grandchildren from your male line. And finally, collaterals. These are your immediate family members who aren't directly above or below you in the family tree. They're on the branches to the side. For these rules, it specifically means your brothers and sisters. Now please, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. This is the golden rule. You cannot just stop showing up to work. You must provide supporting documents, like a marriage certificate or a death certificate, in advance, and you must notify your employer before you take the time off. That is absolutely critical. So there you have it. We've covered the what, the when, and maybe most importantly, the how. This knowledge is powerful, but only if you use it the right way. So the real question is for you. Now that you know your rights, are you ready to go out there and use them correctly?